But there's even another plan called a POS.
POS?
A POS plan.
Okay.
And in that plan, it's a point of service plan. And what it is a kind of a mixture between an HMO and a PPO.
Okay.
And essentially, I will give you an example. Let's say you're a father and you have one son that goes to college, right?
Yeah.
And you're here and he's in Atlanta. Right? And you want to stay in network, but you also you have type 1 diabetes, and you're like, well, when I go visit my son in Atlanta, I want to be able to see an out-of-network provider in Atlanta, right? While also still having my in-network people in DC.
Yeah.
Okay, so the POS plans, the premium is a little bit higher, but you at least get options to be able to go out of the network that will be cheaper than doing a PPO. But that kind of goes to like you having obviously an older child, like a college age child, and then a younger child that may break their leg, needs to go to the dentist, have all these illnesses all the time, as everybody knows with kids with daycare. And so that's where the difference is kind of coming to play. But that's one that doesn't get brought up a lot. Is that POS plan.
And why doesn't it get brought up a lot?
Because healthcare is not designed for people to know, or health insurance is not necessarily always designed for people to know what our options are, right? It's designed, unfortunately, the harsh reality is for us to be in debt. I mean, when you think about the cost, of the average cost of healthcare for an American, for a family, it could be about $32K a year. And I mean, that's just baseline. That's not talking about the services that you're receiving. In other countries like Japan and Germany, it's not that expensive because they're going to the doctor about 13 times out of the year. That's the normal. We're going under 3. So, we have to really start thinking about what other countries are doing too, because that really is important as it relates to how much we're spending per capita and why. Because we're not using our resources, or we're overusing our resources because we have chronic conditions and we're not managing them on the front end.
The U.S. spends 2 times the amount in healthcare, and we're last when it comes to access and the outcomes of that healthcare. Think about, we're a developed country. We say we're number 1, right? Which a lot of people would debate on now. But yes, twice as much in healthcare. Like she said, the GDP, right? Finance guy, But the lowest in access and outcomes.
What's going on, fam? Hey, listen, if you're serious about getting out of debt, building real wealth, and creating a life of freedom, this is your home. I want to personally invite you to subscribe to the channel right now, because every single week we're dropping videos that will help you take control of your money. It will help you shift your money mindset and break money generational cycles. You see, this channel isn't just content. It's honestly a movement. Over 1 million people have joined this community over the last 4 years. I'm still blown away by that, to be honest. And our mission is bold. It is to eliminate $1 billion in debt and build $500 million in assets by the year of 2050. We talk real money, real freedom, and real legacy here at the table. No fluff, no credit card hacks, just the truth that will set you and your family up for a better financial future. Do yourself a favor and join this family, join this movement by hitting that subscribe button, turn on your notifications, and join this journey, because this is where financial freedom begins. Let's get back to the show. Hit that subscribe button.
One of my goals with you all is, for me personally, is that I would like to get to a point to where I can see Dr. T at least once a quarter. One of my friends, he's super wealthy. He sees his doctor every other month.
Exactly.
And I'm like, why? I said, bro, you just saw him the other month. He was like, bro, I can see him this month, but in 2 weeks, something can start forming.
Correct.
And he was like, and if something started forming, if I caught it a month and a half compared to a year later, that goes from just me taking a pill maybe to a major surgery.
Correct.
And I was like,
perspective.
Yeah.
Whole nother perspective.
Yes.
And then so now, I go to the dentist once a quarter now to get my teeth cleaned, because I want to keep them white. And I think last show, you all educated me on why
it's so important.
That is important. But we don't have this information, right? And this is why I really wanted y'all on the show, because I'm like, man, this is hurting people. This is keeping people in debt. This is causing people to file bankruptcy. This is causing people to not be able to invest because they got to take care of their health. And I'm like, if this is important, which y'all, they probably don't like me to say this, but they working on the show. And so we're going to have them on the show once a month over here because I really do believe health is attached to your wealth. And so we're going to try and get them on a show to where they're dropping a show at least once a week. Because, man, I mean, hey, let me just say this, too. Her husband here, I already said this, too, so I won't feel bad. And Dr. T's fiance is my man. Man, listen, brothers, our intimacy life is being impacted because of this gut, especially when it comes to Black men. And so I'm like, yo, I don't want to get to an age. I don't want to be at 50, and I want to be sensitive in what I'm saying, because I know some of you all are watching this right now who are older and you're going through issues. Yeah. But I don't want to get to that age with me having access to this information and not make the right decision that will impact me and my wife's relationship. It could impact me being a father because I may not be here long enough, or I may not be able to do certain things. Or watch this, I got to worry about my health rather than worrying about building more wealth.
Here is the truth. I am always looking for practical ways to help you build, wealth, specifically generational wealth and legacy. And one of the best ways you can do that is with life insurance. That's why I partnered with my friends at Ethos. They make buying life insurance simple and hassle-free. Whether you're the main provider for your family or want to make sure your loved ones aren't left with financial burdens like debt, life insurance is a powerful way to provide financial security. As a business owner and a homeowner, I took this seriously and secured a $2 million life insurance policy through Ethos. Why? Because having a peace of mind, knowing my family will be cared for when I'm no longer here, is extremely priceless. What I love about Ethos is their quick and straightforward process. You can apply entirely online in as little as 10 minutes. I'm not even exaggerating. I did it myself. Listen, no medical exams, just a few health questions that you must answer honestly. Plus, it's affordable, making it easier to protect your family without breaking the bank. Listen, I want you to lock in your rate today by visiting AnthonyONeal.com/life insurance, or click the link below to get your personalized free quote today. Listen, as we're getting back to the show, I want you to protect your loved ones. Don't play around with it. Be like me. I promise you. It's a hard conversation to have, but you will sleep peacefully knowing that you took care of your family. Go to AnthonyONeal.com/life insurance. Let's get back to the show to help you keep building this wealth.
And this is not an attractive, sexy subject.
No, it's a harsh reality.
It is, and I'm like, every time I talk to y'all, I just get like, dang, man, I got to do better.
And it can be overwhelming, but 88% of people like our age and out there do not understand basic things like deductible, copay, co-insurance.
Exactly.
But you gotta at least understand those terms to be able to make like an educated decision about which plan you should choose in your enrollment period. Because we haven't even talked about that.
And which is like the Hunger Games.
No, we're gonna talk about that. We're gonna talk about that because I think it's so important. I remember when I first got my high deductible plan. I remember telling y'all this, and I was like, man, I am the money guy, and I didn't know this. But it's like, so I got the high deductible plan because I'm only paying $98 a month for my insurance. But my deductible, correct me if I'm saying the term right, is $7,000.
Right.
Meaning that I have to cover the first $7,000 cash out of pocket before my insurance kicks in. And my insurance kicks in at $70/30. So they pay $70, I pay $30. Well, I went to the doctor's office, and because I knew that I had to pay, right? I didn't give them my insurance card because I was like, well, I got to pay the first $7,000 anyway. This is only going to be a $300 visit. And it's like, boom. And I wasn't keeping track. So then I went back to the same doctor. This is when I was living in Nashville. She was like, hey, Anthony, do you have an insurance card? I was like, yeah, but I got to pay for it. She was like, no, son, give me the card.
Right.
You might pay $1,000 you didn't even know.
Yeah.
Right. And so she was like, you have to, every time you come, because that's how they track how much money you're owing. You can't call them and say, y'all, I'm at 7,000 when they don't know that. So we got to report it. Then she was like, and then when you're coming, do you have an HSA card? I was like, I think I do have that in the mail at the house. She said, poor baby. That money you put in the account, you can use that to pay for your medical time when you come. And I was like, word? Like, I was only investing it.
Right.
I didn't know I can use that Visa card for anything around my medical bills.
Yes.
Yep.
And so this is why, like, I just think that you all got to come in and watch this. And y'all said it. because I want to talk about the employee who are the average person watching. Then I want to come over because we have a subsect of people who are like me,
business owners and freelancers.
Yep.
Yeah.
And finding insurance for me was very difficult.
Yep.
Because I didn't know where to go.
Start.
Right. And so, but let's come back over here to the employee. Open enrollment time.
Oh, Hunger Games.
It is, right? What are things that what would you say that the top 3 most important things to know? If there's 5, give us 5. But what would you say the top 3 things that we need to know during this season when it comes to open enrollment?
I would say number 1, knowing when open enrollment season is. Open enrollment season is from November to about January.
Okay.
But also it also depends on qualifying events where you can join other times of the year. It also depends on if you've lost your job recently. Those things also qualify in open enrollment. But more specifically, open enrollment is typically between November and January. So before that time, you should be budgeting. That's probably number 2, to figure out, okay, when I look at the marketplace based on my zip code, because that also matters, where you're located. Your rates are different. But yeah, when you go in the marketplace, you have to put in your zip code. That's because the rates are different. See, it's the sneaky, tricky things that you don't know that are going on behind the scenes. But essentially, you need to know what the comparisons are so that you can prioritize what's important to you. Which category do I fall in? How much am I going to use the services? So then I can budget and plan for that open enrollment period, and I have my money prepared for when I'm ready to sign that contract. And then read between the fine lines. Know the terms and understand what those terms mean so that you don't sign a contract that doesn't align with your priorities for your health.